Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name's Ryan. I'm pretty excited for the next few videos. I don't know, there's actually probably going to be a couple of videos in between the series, but we've got a series that we're starting today that I reached out to my Discord community and I said, hey guys, I'd love to do a series where if you guys could come up with some samples to send in that are unique to a specific state, right? So it's like states versus states. I said, let's leave Kentucky off the board. We've been there, we've done that, and we love Kentucky bourbon, no doubt. But let's see what some of the other states' staple profiles are. And I said I really wanted to keep them to be like staple offerings from the states, not like some really obscure craft distillery, but otherwise something that's unique to your state or any state. Let's put them head to head. So we've got 8 submissions, 8 different states that are going to be kind of going head to head in the next couple of videos. So we'll do 4 today, do 4 on another day. We'll take the top 2 from each blind and we'll pit them against each other for the final one. So that's what we've got going on today. So this is 2 layers of anonymity. I don't know what states are being represented in this blind. So I had myself completely removed from the process. My Discord community handled this. They have sent in 8 samples that are just labeled, 1 through 8. I don't know what states they came from. Not only that, but just in case I might recognize, oh, that's the kind of sample bottle so-and-so tends to send in. My wife's the one who's receiving the samples, and then she's the one that poured this blind. So I have not seen, I don't know, right? Completely removed from the process. Anyways, that's enough talking. Let's taste some whiskey. I got 4 right here, A through D. Let me get my notebook out because when I do blinds, it's important for me to take notes. I'll taste all 4 of them, give my tasting notes, and then I will select 2 that are my favorites from this blind that I'll be progressing on. A big thank you to everyone who sent in submissions. I really appreciate each and every one of you. Glass A. So I will wait to edit these videos until I am done with the whole series so that I can put on the screen right here the bottle I'm tasting and what state it's from. So you know what I'm tasting as I'm tasting it, even though I don't know what it is. So you know right here what this is. Okay. This is like cinnamon roll. Straight up on the nose, like getting blasted with a cinnamon roll. Like it even gives Amberana vibes. And chocolate malt balls, like milk duds. Okay, cinnamon roll and milk duds right here. Chocolate malt and cinnamon roll. Beautiful nose, holy heck. We're coming out strong on the nose. Let's give it a taste. I mean, everything we got on the nose is right there on the palate. This light chocolatey malt ball kind of a thing going on. And just heaps of cinnamon and sugar. It kind of reminds me of, I used to, when I was a teenager, one of my favorite things to have as a snack in the morning, like as breakfast, would be just to toast some wheat bread and then put a little bit of melted butter on top and sprinkle cinnamon and sugar on top, right? Cinnamon and sugar toast. This reminds me of that. Man, I mean, that's really freaking good. It's really freaking good. Hey, dynamite. Let's move on to glass B. I'm anticipating that we're going to have a pretty wide variety of submissions. This one has a beautiful color to it, glass B. Grape and grain on the nose. Grape and grain. It reminds me of like a Cabernet on the nose in a lot of ways. But there's also this grain forward thing that's going on that kind of makes me think of some various craft distilleries. It's got a real Midwest wine cask finish vibe going on here. Kind of a Midwest crafty vibe, that grain forward Midwest whiskey. And then maybe a finish in some kind of a wine on the nose. I really like the nose quite a bit. It's very appealing. It kind of has like a grape Jolly Rancher vibe. Well, let's try it. Cheers. It's got this peppery zing to it that we certainly weren't getting on the nose. But the grape and the grain, very present on the palate. Quite present. It's very grain forward. And then it's like a wave, right? You get hit with this wave of grain. And you kind of ride up that front end of the grain wave. And then as it passes you ride down the back side of the wave, which is all grape. Okay? It's kind of the way that this sip goes. You ride that grain wave and then you come back down on the grape. And right at the apex is that zip, that zing of peppercorn. Oh, if you hear birds and bugs, It is such a beautiful day out there today, so my window's wide open. So I apologize if there's a little bit of background noise. I really like that. Really like it. We got some strong submissions already. Moving on to Glass C. We got these little tabs on here. Greg sent these in, which I appreciate. I use these all the time now, Greg. I appreciate it. Let's get in here on the nose. Holy cow, is this already very different. All these have been really distinct, but I get this huge pear note, big and bold. Not that pear is a bold flavor by any means. It is a somewhat subtle fruit note, but I mean that it's like in your face. Very thing I get. Big pear, big malted barley notes. Nose alone is making me think that this is not bourbon. This is not rye. This noses like a really fruity American single malt of some kind. We get the pear, we get the malt, and there's this bready note that makes me think of like a fresh baguette. You know what I mean? Like if you were to go to Panera Bread and they give you a big chunk of a baguette right there in your basket next to your Sammy. Pear, baguette, and malt on the nose. Love it. Well, let's try it. Cheers. That's interesting. The pear note's definitely there. It still maintains that real fruity quality. Like a cup of diced pears sitting in their own juices that we used to have. Or like, you know, they'd scoop it out into our trays at lunchtime. You remember this as kids? We used to have these trays with all these different little indentations for different things, and usually up in the corner was the indentation specifically for fruit. And you'd watch the lunch lady spoon out a bunch of diced pears in their juices and slap them in there, and you're like, yeah, that's the good stuff. It definitely maintains that. It also has this honeyed bread quality going on too. It's very bready on the palate in general, but I get a little bit of honey with that bread. But it makes me think a lot of this kind of funky bread note that I get with a lot of Texas single malts. I have to say that I think specifically that's what it is, but it does remind me a lot of like a Balcones, something like that. I'm already just loving this experience because I feel like I'm hopping all over the United States. That's really fun because these are all very distinct, very unique. And it's like, it's fun because it's not just like who made the better bourbon. Like I already feel like we've had a wide variety of submissions in just these 3 pours. One of them, I don't know. I feel like one of them, the second one feels like, you know, one of those experimental grain mash bills, like maybe the pumpernickel, you know, something like that. I don't know. But either way, we're getting location differences on display here, on full display. Pear, honey, and funky bread on this one. It's yummy. I like it. Thank you. Moving on to the last one, D, which has a beautiful color to it, doesn't it? A little more mahogany here. Okay, shall we then? I get bright plum on the nose. I used to love eating plums as a kid. Those were one of my favorite, like when my mom was going to the store, I'd be like, hey, can you grab a couple of plums? Definitely has this plum note on the nose. It's quite pretty. It reminds me of cobbler too, because there's also this like a sweet bready quality going on as well, which I love a fresh baked cobbler that has, you know, that streusel and that crumbly breading topping on it. Come on. And there's this light caramel, like Werther's original, you know, caramel, you know, hard candies. Kind of reminds me of those. So plum, caramel, and a sweet streusel crumble. Beautiful. Well, let's get in on it. Cheers. That plum turned into bright, like maraschino cherries on the palate. It's got a great peppery quality that offsets the sweetness, gives it a little bit of framing. But man, like the thing that I'm really thinking of, my mind's like latched onto it, is cherry pie. I grew up, I've told this probably 100 times, I grew up with cherry trees in my backyard. So I would get a book, I'd climb up into a cherry tree, and there was this like perfect nook where I had a big thick branch that then V'd out. And I'd put my tuchus right in the V. I'd sit in there, kind of lean back, read a book, and I'd just grab cherries right off the branches. This is taking me back. This is like my mom's homemade cherry pie. We had a storage room just filled with jarred cherries. Just hundreds of jars of cherries. Because you had to pick them or else they'd just go to waste. And so she'd can them or jar them or whatever. And this is giving me strong cherry pie vibes. Beautiful. And that pepperiness is so needed. I'm so glad that note is there, like cracked black peppercorns, because without it, I think this would just taste like cherry juice straight up. But that pepperiness and a little bit of, I don't want to say mature oak, but there's a little bit of an oaky bite to it which I appreciate because it gives some much needed framing and a little bit of basiness to kind of offset this bright sweet cherry note. But hot dang, is that like that's crushable. I could just sit here and crush a full pour of this easily. Dang, that's good. Man, this is going to be really hard. I'm not going to lie, it's going to be really hard. Okay, now that we've been through them all, I have this challenge of picking 2 to move forward. I thoroughly enjoyed each and every one of these pours. One of them's really thrown me for a loop. 2 of them just stand out immediately as something that I would really enjoy drinking, but I have to also kind of factor in uniqueness. Is it really speaking to me as like a flavor of the state? You know what I mean? Is it distinct? That's going to be my challenge. So let me go back through these. I'll retaste them one more time, and then I'll come up with my conclusions about which 2 are going to move forward. But like I said, all of these were tasty. This is going to be really challenging. Give me a minute. Okay, I've got my 2. This was not easy. All of these were contenders. I really had to wrestle with each and every one of these. The one thing that I think is a bit of a challenge for me personally is that while I like American single malts, it takes a like very special American single malt for me to be like, I need it. Like I need to have that. You know what I mean? And I know that I'm probably going to be disappointing some people because there are some huge American single malt lovers in our community. And while I appreciate that category, for my palate specifically, the 2 that really spoke to me and just spoke to my palate and I could see myself sitting down with several times would be glasses B and D. B and D. So the second one we tasted, which was, we said grain forward and grape on the nose. We said like grape Jolly Rancher, had this nice zip to it, a little bit of a Midwest grain vibe going on. That one was just dynamite. Glass D then, we had this bright plum on the nose, but then it transferred to this cherry pie and peppercorn palate. Man, was that crushable. So while all of these were great, I think B and D are going to be the 2 for me personally that would progress into the final round. Thank you so much for the submissions. And if I eliminated yours, I am so sorry, but I am also so appreciative that you sent it in to begin with. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning into the video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments section, based on tasting notes alone, which 2 you think you would have advanced forward in the tournament just off the tasting notes alone, or maybe you've had these before. Which 2 do you think would have made it for you? Thank you so much. With that, we say cheers, my friends. May you live richly and get better with age, and I hope to catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.